of absolute unconsciousness. We can compare that to the mineral kingdom, to a sleep without dreams that we could compare to the vegetable, the plant kingdom. Okay. I apologize if there is noise. I have a neighbor with a motorcycle, and he's really excited today, so he's going around all the time. So I hope it's not making too much noise. But the third aspect of the consciousness is we could compare with a vivid dream. And we can see in some animals that kind of awareness, an awareness of self, but still through semi-conscious images. And then we have the next step of manifestation of consciousness, and we can see the development of humanity in that level. That is the manifestation of the mind, that is the center of the consciousness, or that shadow that we have mentioned in the example during the presentation. It was really an effort to produce that shadow, to differentiate, the self-image from all the rest. And one of the elements to produce that state of consciousness is the thinking capacity that is directly associated with the superior power of words. So when humanity was still using just spoken words, there was a much deeper connection between thoughts, words, but especially feelings. And if we study the way our memory works, we will realize that we truly remember the things that we deeply felt. In other words, memories, the fuel or the ink to really print memories in our brain and in our entire being comes from emotions, from feelings. That's why, for example, all the narratives from the past, they come from before the time that humanity could write. So, just imagine the Mahabharata, okay? Volumes and volumes and volumes of narratives and adventures, or the Odyssey, etc. They did not appear in the time that the first poet or the first writer put down the words and crystallized the form. They come from a much older tradition, that is the oral tradition. So, but it was necessary that the mind took a next step, because at that time it was something in between a conscious mind and a subconscious mind. So in the moment that we started to write words, in other words, that the creative power really was manifested in form, in a permanent matter. That's what the written word is. Think about what's written in Delphi. Know thyself. It's been there for millennia, but somebody thought about that in the first place. So in the moment that we did that, our mind and matter really connected. And it was super important to make the shadow of our ego, our lower consciousness, absolutely visible and with a contour very differentiated from all the rest. It is, in comparison, it's the shadow at dawn and the shadow when the sun is really up in the sky.